All right, best hair.
Can I say it? Because you're going to say it.
No, I don't think I am.
Josh Allen had the best hair
by
this
far.
year.
Oh.
By far.
A little too much lettuce
Maybe
at the end.
I am, as you
me.
guys well know, I am jealous of hair with everyone.
I think we all have the same answer for best person to share a deserted island with.
No.
I don't think we do.
You guys, you say yours.
Mac Hollins.
Okay.
I had Mac. If you wanted to have a really quiet island, you could share it with Milano.
So,
when he went on stage, everything, I was happy that he had won it, and it went from joyful to crying because when he mentioned my name, I just broke down. I broke down because I'm just an average person. I mean, I was, like I said, I hate to say, I almost had a heart attack when he said my name.
This is the Buffalo Plus Podcast, brought to you by Connors and Ferris.
All right, welcome back to the Buffalo Plus Podcast, presented by Connors and Ferris. Mike Catalana, Dan Fates, I am Jenna Cottrell. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. We always appreciate it. This week, we're going to do some Bills superlatives. We're going to talk about some Patrick Mahomes stuff that Mike has to say. Credit to me. We're going to break it all down. We're going to do some fun superlatives. We're going to do some serious superlatives. And of course, we have to start with the actual MVP of the Bills of the NFL. We know, first and foremost, that is Josh Allen.
yeah, I mean, it is the thing that has, I think, given people that sense of, okay, season didn't go the end the way you wanted,
Right.
but there was something big. And I know there's controversy. I don't care about any of that controversy. That's like a media on media thing and some fans, and I get why some people are upset. There were multiple players who could have won the MVP. Josh Allen got it. He could have won it in other years. He did not get it.
Yeah.
The vote is the vote. He won the vote. Congrats to Josh.
Yeah. Pretty.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I agree. Yeah, it just was. I think also what has resonated so much is Mike and I did the video right after it, but it was the speech. I think that also hit home for so many people. And this week we got to meet Slick Rick, or we got to see and hear from Slick Rick. And I think that also was just another reason why, to me, the video after when Josh was talking about the kid sent him the video.
Oh,
So sweet.
Miyoshi children. And that was one of those some things are bigger than sports moments that I think it tugs on everybody's heartstrings in those kind of moments that you're like, and Josh says it best. We've often said, like, we think sometimes so much of these people. They are people.
Athletes.
They're just very good at a sport.
yeah.
And I think Josh puts it all into perspective when he's like, I just play football. And it's great to have that self-awareness
Yes.
in all of that, because some people that maybe have played quarterback for colors that are green don't seem to have that level of awareness.
Yes. Maybe in the New York City area.
Or in a Midwest market.
Right. So you mean Green Bay and North Jersey.
Yes.
So you mean Aaron Rodgers.
I did.
Okay.
I did mean Aaron Rodgers.
I thought when the Bills gave Josh the iPad to watch the kids,
Yeah.
I'm sitting there going, that was unbelievable,
Yeah.
because he didn't expect any of that.
Also,
and if people haven't seen it, it's an incredible
phenomenal.
thing from the kids at the hospital. But then when he watched what they said about him, I just thought that was incredible.
And when he knew some of their names.
Right away. I mean,
Hannah,
right away.
Abby. Yeah, that was really cool.
Shout out Andy Meyer and his Bills.
Yeah.
The media
Yes.
staff there from
Yes.
Bills Sports Entertainment. They did a phenomenal job.
Yeah,
By the way,
they always do.
We are in the building, not all the time. We are in buildings around the Bills.
We are.
Raise your hand, the three of you, if any of us knew Slick Rick.
No.
Right? So when he mentions that in the speech, I'm like, that's cool. But I had no idea if Slick Rick was
A real person?
19 years old or
Yeah.
112. Like, I didn't know anything about the man until that, but it's ended up being awesome.
Yeah, so Matt Boves of WKBW did an interview with Slick Rick at the Bills facility, and he, did a great interview, and we got to meet who Slick Rick is, and we put together the story about what he means to Buffalo, what that moment meant to him himself. It was already a special moment as Josh Allen won his first NFL MVP. Allen thanked a lot of people, But for one Buffalo native, the Bills quarterback mentioned him by name.
We got such a great locker room in Buffalo, and it takes everybody from the equipment staff to the training room to the strength staff to Slick Rick in the mail room.
I was, like I said, I hate to say, I almost had a heart attack.
Yeah, that is Slick Rick, or Roderick Murrow. He's a Buffalo native who's worked 15 years in the Bills mailroom. And that moment,
I broke down because I'm just an average person. I mean, but when he mentioned my name, it was like, oh my God, he just mentioned my name on national television, you know? So it was like, I was just crying. I was crying. Then I started getting phone calls from friends, and I was crying on the phone to them. It's still like a dream.
yeah, and believe it or not, this was not the first time Josh has surprised Rick.
A moment where I walked past Josh in the hallway, and he saluted me and said, "Slick Rick," and then I was like in a dream. I was like daydreaming, like why would Josh, salute me, and stuff like that. But that's the type of person he is.
But that also says a lot about the kind of guy Morrow is. The 61-year-old who takes the bus every day to Orchard Park.
I love my job, and I wouldn't want to work anywhere else in the world. I wouldn't. I'm living the dream.
Yeah, a dream job where now everybody knows is done by Slick Rick. Yeah, what a guy. Taking the bus from Buffalo to Orchard Park. And if you watch the interview that Matt Beauvais, it's posted on WKBW's site, the full interview of 8 minutes.
Friend of Buffalo Plus.
Yeah, we really appreciate Matt sending us all that stuff. He just talked about, like, I don't know why he shouted me out. I just do my job. And I think that was really cool.
It was, every part of it was cool. I couldn't hear enough of him. I just love listening to the man. My favorite part was when he talked about Josh saluting him in the hallway.
Yeah.
And we've been around Josh, I could see him doing that.
Absolutely.
Because we see him in other settings. He does talk to or acknowledge like everybody.
Yeah.
I say everybody. Moments. He's like looking over, sees somebody, to all the people that work with the team. Like, he is that guy. I can see him walking down the hallway, giving the salute to Slick Rick.
It was also too, it was on ESPN.
Yeah.
It was SVP's best thing he saw today. And SVP made the comparison of the Maya Angelou quote, which I thought SVP is so damn good at his job.
good.
Yeah.
But he talks about nobody will remember what you said, nobody will remember what you did, but people will remember how you made them feel.
Yep.
Nothing more embodies that than a salute from Josh Allen and him saying that one word, or, the one line of to Slick Rick in the mailroom. That made that guy's year, decade for what that meant to him was awesome.
And the way you phrased that, one was in probably the quiet of a hall. We've all walked down the hallway when somebody's walking the other way.
We have the longest hallway
Oh my God,
ever at our station.
It's 14 miles.
It's actually a runway.
Yeah.
And when you see somebody and you turn the corner and you're like, I got 60 yards. I left something on my desk, and I turn around.
Do you ever feel like you're the one that the other person cuts down the other hallway?
Yes.
Oh,
avoid?
absolutely.
Yes. Really?
Yeah.
And if they do, I want to be like, thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
But I'm thinking one was on national TV. I don't know if anybody asked Josh if he had considered that when he was making the speech. Probably not. Like, I think he just sort of mentioned a bunch of people, because later he did say, oh, there were some people I missed and I wanted to mention them and I hope they see this. And the other was in the, like, one's on national TV, one is in the quiet of a hallway in all likelihood. And both times just seeing people are seen, like you said. I loved it. I loved every bit of it.
Yeah, very cool. So Josh, obviously the MVP of the Bills. So when we do these superlatives, that is, we're not forgetting about number 17.
But I do have him mentioned in a couple other places.
I do too, yeah.
Right. To do this, we've done this, I think, each of the last 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's good content.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Comment in with what you guys think your superlatives would be for players, or maybe we do another one with more superlatives and we can kind of update this as we go along. But we could put Josh down for 99% of these superlatives.
Should I read the categories just so people know?
Sure.
All right. So the categories: most likely to succeed next season, biggest improvement, biggest surprise, biggest disappointment, player of the year offense, player of the year defense, player of the year special teams. And then some fun categories. So we have most likely to be president, best hair, most likely to become a comedian, best person to share a deserted island with, and most likely to win the lottery and lose the ticket.
It's a great category.
Good.
Yeah.
That's
It's
awesome.
a great category.
Yeah. Okay. All right, let's start. Most likely to succeed.
And these are all open kind of to our interpretation of where we
Yes.
go.
Yeah.
Do you want to start first, Michael?
I don't need to.
You're the World Series champion. World
Series.
champion.
World Series champion.
ELGES. Eagles.
Okay, so
By the way, the comments in the last video were
Yeah.
incredible.
Yes.
First of all, victory lap. People talk to themselves. Thank you.
I know.
You guys
Well,
were trying to
that's-
shame me.
no,
Yeah, that was
I
a little
trying
disappointing.
to shame you
A little disappointed in the
No,
comments.
you were trying to shame me.
because
Let me
it's
literally
yourself.
sip on this tea.
So my wife says, I talk to myself, I yell at other drivers. I go, that means you're yelling at the driver. That doesn't mean you're
Correct.
talking to yourself.
Correct.
Yes. And I talk a lot, but I was not, I don't.
But
I
great
really
comments.
don't
So you
talk to
annoy
myself.
yourself?
No question. All right. Most likely to succeed. I have two of them because I have one for life and I have one for football.
Ooh.
Oh.
So I'll start with the football one so we can all say our
Okay.
football one. And then when come back
Yeah.
around, I'll say the one
Yeah.
for life. I'm saying this, and I don't know if you guys agree with me. I say Greg Rousseau. I like what Greg Rousseau did this year. I think it was better than he's been given by some people credit, and that includes one, Mr. Dan Fates. I think you think he was okay. I think when you look at the overall year that he had, I think he can take another step. And we all saw how important defensive line play is. I think you got to get Greg Rousseau some help on that D line. And I think he can be a very impactful player. I mean, he had double the tackles for loss of anybody. He led the team in sacks. He had the most hits by far. He had 24 quarterback hits. The most besides him was 13. He was the most impactful player on the D-line. He plays the run better than anybody on the edge. I'm saying Greg Rousseau.
First, let me rebuttal this by saying Greg Rousseau is young. He is still developing, and he still could become that.
Right.
I think that when you were the best player on the defensive line, that was a poor defensive line. It's a low bar to clear. And if you're saying he needs somebody to come in like a Myles Garrett, Max Crosby,
Yeah.
like,
I mean,
that means you're not.
no, that's not. I'm just saying is I don't say, yes, everybody will be better if Myles Garrett is on the other side. I think this guy can play in the league. I think
I'm not disagreeing. I don't think anybody's disagreeing with that.
I'm saying is he's not a guy you just move off of. I think he is going to be a long-term player for this
Do
team.
you think then ahead is a breakout season?
Yeah, and I think it will
'Cause-
help to get some pressure on the inside. I think it will help to get better players around him. He was, you could say this, without a lot of help around him, he had a pretty good year. And I think he's got more in him. And I do think he plays the run very well. I think he does. I think he holds the edge very well. I think they need better players to help him.
All right.
Okay.
That's fine if you disagree. Brandon
Is
Bean's
it?
not going
Is it?
No, because Brandon Bean's
past year,
Brandon
Bean
Bean is
breakout year.
not going to well,
Yeah, that is true.
I said he was going to get double-digit sacks. He had 8 sacks in the year. Needs
4
more.
in the first game.
Still led the team. Led the team in hits. Led the team in every category you want to say. Was there any question he was the best defensive lineman?
On a D line that they completely want to overhaul.
You mean most likely to succeid like next year?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure that
And I think
We're
he
all
still
on the
played
same
well.
page.
I'm saying is I think you gotta, and
I like Greg. Greg's fine. Greg's fine.
Okay.
fine. Okay, go ahead.
I have one on offense and defense. On offense, I think Ray Davis has a real future. I think we still have to figure out what's going to happen with Ty Johnson. I'd love to have Ty Johnson back, but even in the opportunities that Ray had in his first year, and they were limited, I saw flashes. I saw big plays. I think that if Ty gets an opportunity to go elsewhere and the money is too high that you don't want to pay third down back, whatever money it is, I think Ray could fit in there nicely and be a solid, not a drop off really by any means in his first year. I thought he showed those moments where I went, hey,
yeah,
this is a nice pickup that the Bills got, and he can have some short yardage run. He showed some burst, showed some things in the passing game. I liked it.
Yeah, I definitely see the flashes that you talk about. Who do you have on defense?
Cole Bishop.
That's who I had. I think Cole Bishop because he got I mean, he played well when he was in. I think there was some trial by fire. Like I think of that Texans game where he got beat over the top, and I think that was a learning moment for him. I think he was able to pick the brain of Micah Hyde, and I think that's helpful. And I think for a guy that you took in the second round, he got some very valuable playing experience in year one. How can he build off of that in year two? I expect him to have the offseason to really like work on what he needs to, but also have the understanding of what it is like playing in an NFL game, what it is like playing in an AFC championship, and the level of play you need to be at.
Well, so a couple of things with that. That injury hurt him beginning of the year, and then he got thrown out there. You mentioned that game. I mean, he hadn't really played a lot, and here he is giving up a big play. And I think most of the time as young players, they don't really know what they need to know. They can be told, but
you don't know what you don't know.
You know, Terrell Bernard sat and watched. And we heard even like Joe Andreessen saying when he talked to Bernard was like, my head was spinning as a rookie. So I think, and I do think they have big hopes for him.
Yes.
Because you drafted him a second round, and we're talking about revamping this defense. They need Cole Bishop to be good.
Yes.
Because of where they picked him. So I like that pick too.
I also hope that Cole works out with Dalton, his college teammate. They both get bigger. There were times when Cole looked very small out there. And again, it's also he's
22.
Yeah.
You would like to see him. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear that. All right. Who was your most likely to succeed in life?
Well, it was the guy you just mentioned. It's Ray Davis.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I mean, I love, Jenna did the story. You guys all saw it. It's awesome with Ray and everything he's been through. And I look at that guy and the way he leads his life when a lot of people would be blaming other people, whatever
sorry
else
for themselves.
That guy is awesome to hear.
Yeah.
And live the life that he lives, even though he was dealt a atrocious hand in life.
Truly.
So
for him,
you root for him. He's going to, whatever his career is, that dude's going to be fine. That's the way I look at it.
I love that. That's really good. All right. Biggest improvement, Daniel.
Khalil Shakir. Because I thought, okay, was it just a good 8 to 10 games at the end of last season? Like, could you spread that sample size out? Could he be that guy? And I was really impressed by what I saw, because he won't get the number one wide receiver label by any means because of the measurables or things like that. But I think we saw continued growth and the ability to be Josh's go-to guy. That's being a number one guy, a guy that you trust the most than anybody.
So don't they need to revamp the wide receiver position at some point?
Yeah, but you don't need to worry about him. You don't need to worry about him.
Okay. So they shouldn't just get rid of everybody.
No, who said that?
I'm just giving him the Greg Rousseau talk here.
Oh.
You got to keep one. Who you keeping? Shakir or Rousseau?
No, that's actually good.
Well,
I mean, you would keep Rousseau though, I think.
Well, only because if Josh makes it work with freaking Mac Hollins, right? So, I mean, Shakir's awesome. I really like him. I think he will get better.
There were other players that we were saying penciling them in for years and they underachieved, and we can get to those in a second. But I thought Khalil lived up to the hype and then some about being the guy that Josh can depend on.
Yeah.
Jenna, what I was going to say is I think when we looked at Shakir coming into the year, we thought, okay, high floor, lower ceiling. I think the floor is well established. Yes. I think he has shown he can have a higher ceiling.
I agree.
He made a few plays this year. I was looking back at some highlights. We're going to do that, we think, next week, the plays of the year. Man, he made some great plays.
He's a dude.
Yeah.
He is. All right.
Football player.
You go second.
Okay, I have James Cook. I just think that he was phenomenal this season. I think you saw the moments last year where you're like, okay, he seems like, but we talked about all this past season of like the patience, showing some of that physicality, the vision, all of those things. And this season, he kind of put it all together and you saw the results on the field and what he added to this Bills team in general. He was outstanding. He could be my non-Josh Allen MVP and also biggest improvement.
No doubt about it. There aren't that many guys who make Josh Allen-like plays. Mm-hmm. He did in the championship game. That was a Josh Allen play.
That
when he got in
touchdown,
the end zone,
unbelievable,
was incredible.
The individual effort for that.
Yes, and I thought the other parts sort of went away. Not catching the ball,
yeah,
and holding on to the
ball
football.
security, yeah.
All those things were great.
Yeah.
as we saw in the Super Bowl, we've seen, and we've talked about it with this team, physical team, need to be physical. On both sides of the ball, I think that's the way the game needs to be played.
You're going with an O lineman, aren't you?
Spencer Brown.
Yep.
And I thought he went from being, I mean, honestly, he's the kind of player they have needed. He is
Attitude.
Yes, a force out there, and it's getting noticed. You know who noticed him? You just saw him in the Super Bowl, Lane Johnson, who's the best right tackle in the league.
Yeah.
And he's like, I love this Spencer Brown.
Yeah.
He plays with an anger to him.
Yes.
By the way, I wonder if he did have that 24-pack after the game that he told you.
Dang, yeah.
Probably
I didn't even
did.
think of that.
Yeah.
Sad.
We just had bourbon and a few Michelob Ultras.
And some pizza.
And some pizza, some Pizza Hut pizza. Like,
But I liked what Spencer Brown did. And honestly,
Yeah,
I
it's a good
think
one.
he is becoming just a force on that line.
the Bills re-signed Alec Anderson today as we record this.
Wednesday, yep.
Yep.
Alec Anderson is in a great/awful situation. And I mean that in the sense of he has a role notched out for himself as the sixth lineman, which is great. But the linemen ahead of him are all very, very good.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think it was a 1-year deal. Makes sense.
It was.
You have security because even when Spencer went down, it was Ryan Vandemark that filled in for that Chiefs game at right tackle. So he's it's a good situation that you have a niche put out for yourself.
Right.
Future career-wise, I would see possibly a team wanting to maybe make a move and take a flyer on him.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's in Buffalo because both tackles are already locked in.
Established.
But it is nice to have that flexibility. So really kind of cool for Alec Anderson. He's another guy that has a ton of attitude, a ton of edge.
Yeah.
I mean, you see everybody that breaks down what the Bills did successfully was when they went with the extra lineman, and Alec Anderson was a massive, massive part of that. So that was really kind of cool to see.
I attempted to be Dan Fates because Jenna was working with me on this. I was trying to say Alec Anderson will catch a pass.
Yes.
So I
forgot
left
about
it
that.
open-ended enough, much like you would, that if at any time in his career he catches a pass, it's going to be
That's the way to
credit to
do
me. I even mentioned it to him in the locker room one day. He goes, just let him know. Let him know.
Nice.
I'm ready. I'm great. Just tell Brady I'm ready.
Yes.
He's the guy who's going to catch a pass.
Deion's caught one.
I would say Deion has
Dan's got
one.
a couple, right? He has
Yeah.
that
I know he's
touchdown
got the
against
Jets. Yeah.
He's going to catch.
Vandemark has one. Caught one against the
He
Patriots.
did, didn't he?
Oh, that's right.
Dandy caught one.
Yeah.
That's about it.
But next year, I'm counting on you, Alec.
Yeah.
I'm counting it.
Biggest surprise, positive or negative? I'll go.
All right.
Mac Hollins.
Oh,
Yep.
That's how I had to.
Mac
Yep.
Hollins. Dude is a baller.
He's a dude.
He is a dude.
He's a dude.
And it's someone Josh Allen obviously trusted in big moments throughout the season. And that was something that I don't think any of us could have expected going into this past year.
He was a guy, I think, I always remember back, Jenna, when we did the Trent Sherfield video when they signed him, and everybody's like, hey, he could do these kind of things. And I remember when Mac Hollins signed, and I was like, everybody pump the brakes on this. Like, we just went through this with Trent Sherfield. Hey, like, oh, he could be this wide receiver. He could be this. And he was awesome. Big plays. He brought an attitude. He brought an energy. My college baseball coach always talked about, like, you're either an energy giver or an energy taker.
Oh, yeah.
Mac Hollins is an energy giver walking into the stadium, and his play on the field, his play on special teams, that's a no-brainer for me. I thought that was the biggest surprise positive for the Bills this season.
In addition to knowing how to fold up cables.
He's incredible.
And I use the clean the microwave with a little bit of white wine vinegar.
Yeah.
I need to do that.
It works.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Mac.
And he films them all on his iPhone.
Yes, he does.
He's like, I don't have any fancy setup. He's like,
I had Mac down. Are we all in agreement?
Yeah.
Or you have somebody else?
Well, no, I had negatives, but I didn't want to be that guy.
Well, I have another positive.
You don't want to be
You
that
are
surprise.
that guy, pal.
No, I'm not.
I have another positive surprise. It is St. Augustine Prep's own Austin Johnson, and here's the reason.
Second in interceptions.
Tied for the team lead in interceptions with 2.
Mike is just hanging on to that.
Isn't that incredible?
Yes.
First of all, it's something.
Yeah,
defense,
yeah,
a little
you
bit,
can-
like
yeah.
somebody can get the ball,
Yeah.
but he had 2, and I told him he needs to take one to the house. I think he was pretty thrilled to have the first 2 interceptions of his career.
Yes.
Yeah.
Was a, rotational guy. We don't know. I think it was a 1-year
year, yeah.
deal.
Are
so
you guys
we'll
the
see.
same high school class?
No, he was 2 years behind me.
Oh, okay.
But, we were there at the same
Okay.
time.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
excuse me,
2 decades.
3 decades behind
There
me.
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2
Pretty
or
close.
3. You can
Wait a minute.
squint.
Oh, my God. Yeah, it's pretty much 3. Wow.
Crazy.
Holy shit.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Do you want to do yours? The negative?
No, because it goes
Daniel?
into biggest disappointment.
Okay,
And
biggest disappointment, Daniel.
I mean, I have a couple on here. My first one though was
We'll all have the same person.
Dalton Kincaid.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, we went into this. Sorry, I had the
Yeah,
camera
I was like,
stuck on you.
please take the camera
Sorry
I
off.
about
will
that.
also say this, because you're going to mention it. I really do hope he was impacted by his knee.
Take that out.
Well, the reason I say I don't hope that he was injured. I'm saying is if that did impact him that much, then, there's the possibility that he
Sure.
comes back healthy and he can be a very impactful player because they need him to be.
Yes.
They drafted him high. It was below where he was as a rookie,
Yes.
and impact plays were few and far between.
Yeah, he hasn't become that matchup nightmare that Bean and everybody told us he would be on draft night. That don't look at this as a tight end, look at this as a mismatch, look at this as a wide receiver, a Cole Bishop role. He hasn't been any of those things. It doesn't mean that the book is out and it's written, and nobody here is saying
Cole Beasley.
Yeah, I
knew where you were
would
going.
get
Did I
there.
say Cole Bishop?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's okay.
No,
It's
I knew
okay.
where you were going.
My
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
But nobody's saying bust, but he just hasn't been that. The basement analogy, you needed things, you needed pieces. I thought Jenna made a perfect analogy about that before. So you just need more out of him.
Credit to me. Could have brought in Zach Ertz. I talked about Zach Ertz for 2 years.
You also
were-
drafted Kincaid on your fantasy team.
Yes. I mean, I drafted him in like the 4th round, and because I'm playing with a bunch of guys from Jersey, they didn't know anything about Kincaid. I mean, he had a decent year, and yeah.
And again, we always say on the good side that progress is never linear. Like it's not,
Yep.
it doesn't just happen. You get better and better every exponential year. This is a big year though for Kincaid
Yeah.
to have to step up.
Yeah. I mean, obviously the Bills, Brandon Bean and Sean McDermott still believe in him. They did talk about in the offseason how they want to see him put on some weight, put on some muscle. But I think everyone in the room is still all in on him. I just think, as you guys said, like there were high expectations on him this past season. He did not live up to them. So what will he do to reset in the offseason and get better and be what this team needs him to be?
And McDermott said that too at his end of the year press conference, that like when a player comes in and has those moments and then you just think, oh, he's just going to do this. He's going to double this. Every year it's going to get better. So he understands that this happens with some young players. Again, book is not out. Khalil Shakir had a very quiet first year, was quiet for 8 games through his second year, and then kind of has turned into the Khalil Shakir we know. So there is player development still left to be done. We just have to see it on a consistent basis.
Difference with Shakir, though, is he had a guy in front of him.
Shakir was a 5th round pick.
Yeah,
if
he
we
was
wanted,
not.
if we wanted
He had
to
a guy
look
in front of him.
Not, yeah.
This guy got basically said, "You're the guy."
Yes.
And credit to Dawson Knox for being great teammate, accepting everything,
Yes.
and then balling out when they needed him to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I said Dawson Knox, tight end 1. And
Yeah.
some people are like, no. I'm like, no, I stand by it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
all right.
Do we have any other ones for biggest disappointment? Because I had,
go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
well, I
Sorry.
had Kyer.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
I mean,
that's-
also, and that's a sad one. Like there's no joy in this. Oh, biggest disappointment. Like this is just. We also went into training camp this year being like, hey, this guy is
He
really
did.
showing something.
Yeah.
He had a nice OTAs, all that stuff.
New secondary coach. They gave him, all these things to try and improve. And we all saw this as like, hey man, Kyer's making plays at training camp. So it wasn't totally narrative media driven. Like we saw production at training camp going, hey, he's making another play again. He's making another play again. Didn't really get his opportunity when he did get his spots. Nowhere near where he needed to be.
Yeah, I think he needs to be somewhere else.
I agree.
By the way, I don't want to be that guy that keeps mentioning the Super Bowl. I want to talk just about
Yes, you do.
scheme because they were playing the Chiefs. Eagles played zone entire game. They played man coverage one time when they went to dime, one time, and blitzed 0 times in the game.
I thought that couldn't work against Mahomes.
That's what I'm saying. So in terms of the Bills' basic scheme with a nickel guy in the slot, Cooper DeJean, and
DeJean.
yes, and
So
playing
Yeah, that's good.
zone, it's schemes are great, Marv used to talk about this. He'd say, scheme, schmemes. He says, it's about blocking, tackling, and catching, and this is what you do. And it's fine. You need to, but I'm saying is in terms of like, everybody talks about, oh, Khair's made for more man coverage and all. I'm not saying you can't do more of that. I'm saying is I think at its core, the Bills are still a zone team. It's the way they've played. And it can work if you got the dudes. It's not about the scheme. It's about the execution of the scheme. So I meant that for Khair.
Yeah.
That's why I think he'll end up with another team.
Yeah.
Just clear slate and let him go see if he can play.
Yeah.
That was very Fates of you.
No, I did. I was just make you feel good.
I appreciate it.
That's funny.
Also had Vaughn. I also had Rousseau.
Oh,
I think you're
And
wrong
then
on that.
I had Keon.
That's
And that again, that's based off bar. Like expectations of what we thought Keon could be, ends up with like 20 something catches. He only had 3 in the postseason.
Yep.
Like you saw flashes.
That was the thing. It's funny. I was looking back at the games, and when I looked at that Seattle game,
Yeah,
he made like 3 dude plays in that game.
Blocked a guy into the bench.
And
forgot about that.
also learning. Like, what did they say?
Yep.
Got to come back from whatever the injury was. He wasn't the same. So let's give him the offseason.
He's young.
At least we saw a few of those
moments.
plays, which is, you want to see the birdies and eagles, not just all pars.
Yep.
Like he had the ability to he just went up and took the ball a couple of times in that game.
Yep.
You just need to see it more often.
Yeah. Okay. Player of the year offense.
Michael.
Deion Dawkins.
Oh, good one.
Yeah.
Because I think Deion is not only the core guy on that line, it was a very good line this year. And he made the Pro Bowl, and he danced at the honors, and he introduced Josh, like he did all those things. But if we're going to talk about how this offense played, protecting Josh Allen, he have 14 sacks all year?
Yeah.
Deion is a core guy. He's a core. And it's a good offensive line in total. And I'm not saying he was the only guy. I mentioned about Spencer Brown.
Yeah.
I thought Deion, maybe there were moments last year where the play seemed to wobble a little bit. No, I thought he was really good this year.
All pro should have been.
Well, he's right there.
Yeah.
I mean, that all pro one is tough. It's tough to get that, just because there's only a couple of guys. But
still,
he's at that level.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like to go back. Most improved. I'd like to add Connor McGovern into that as well.
Yeah, that's fair.
For taking over Mitch Morris, what he did, and then the start of training camp when they couldn't snap the ball to one another. And we had to cover, hey, there were no fumbled snaps today, to him kind of being a big anchor. And whether Deion obviously and Spencer more of the attention, I think some people even forget that David Andrews was another pretty good, right guard and things like that. But the fact matters is that like you are the center of that line hey, there's breaking news, right? But like you are in charge of a lot of the protections, the calls,
no doubt.
all of those things. I thought he did a phenomenal job for stepping in for the center.
David Andrews has a massive flaw. He likes Chicago deep dish pizza.
It's tough.
I mean, does he like it, or is that his
he
favorite?
grew up there. He likes it.
I mean, if he grew up there.
I know, but it's just a big pile of dough with sauce on the top.
Yeah.
It's not pizza.
Mike's on one today.
Well, we were talking about it in the locker room the one day. He's like, "What? How can you guys not like this?" I'm like, "It's the worst of all."
Pizzas.
Comment in. Why is it the worst of all pizzas?
I mean, yeah, that's fair.
New York, Detroit
is
Detroit
delicious.
legit.
What other kinds are there other than Chicago?
Well, New York style is in a lot of other places.
Yeah,
because it's the best. You just
it is.
It's just
so fold.
Oh, it's so well. Unless you were, what was that guy's name? De Blasio, the mayor. He's sitting there with a knife and fork in New York City.
I have one of my girlfriends eats chicken wings with a fork and knife.
You shouldn't be
that
friends
is
with
a
her
crime.
anymore.
I told her, I'm like, that is.
Who is it? Call her out now.
No, it's preposterous. No,
that's her name. Wow, what a name.
It's Molly.
Oh, Molly.
Come on, Molly.
Come on, knife and fork. Seriously,
she does. Okay, player. Oh, I had James Cook.
Yes.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, no doubt he's right there.
I'd also like to nominate Josh Allen. He was pretty good on offense.
I didn't think he did a lot.
It's pretty brave of you.
Yeah.
Player of the year defense.
Do we all have the same one again?
Yeah, I think so.
Terrell Bernard?
Yeah, he's the best player on defense.
It's not just the play that we've talked about. It's what that defense looked like without him on the field. Sometimes we joked around that he's the traffic cop putting everybody in the right position. that is just so massive. And I do like what Bean and McDermott had said about him stepping up, the only captain on defense. And when you draft players, you are trying to not just evaluate the talent. And I do want to talk to Bean and McDermott about that when we go to the combine, of like, it is an imperfect science when you're trying to nail down and project where you think these guys are as 21, 22-year-olds and how you see them at the NFL level. But he does talk about, like, you want to know the person, the intangibles. And I think they really kind of hit a home run with Bernard out of Baylor as a guy that, like, Baylor's had good moments. And I know he played well in whatever the bowl game was, that it was his senior year. I think he was the MVP of that bowl game.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't think they would have gotten this. So
Bernard.
Yeah. So hats off to them for drafting the person that has developed into this player.
And the play against the Ravens was incredible.
Huge.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. So no doubt. The one I wanted to, and it's not about player of the year, but I wanted to ask you guys, because I've talked about Milano and wondering if he's going to be back. And I know a lot of you guys, they love Milano, and there's a reason to. And I looked at the numbers a little bit, and I know it was limited during the year. It was encouraging to see a couple of bigger plays in the playoffs. But my concern next to Bernard is you need to know you can have a dude there next to you for 15, 16, 17 games.
Yeah.
I think that is the biggest thing going forward. Or is it time, as you look around the league sometimes, especially on defense, they need more athletic players. They need guys who will be on the field. And maybe it's Dorian Williams. The only reason I'm saying that is because you do have a guy on the roster who should be ready to step up and to be there. So
Dorian improved too.
Yeah, he did.
Especially in coverage.
Agree. That'll be something to watch.
Yeah.
How they approach that. All right. Player of the year, special teams.
It sounds kind of funny. I say Tyler Bass.
I had Tyler Bass too.
Well, he survived.
I had Reed Ferguson.
I also had Reed.
That's your dude.
Phenomenal snaps.
Yes, it was.
He had one blocked.
Yeah, but still.
Shout out Reed.
No,
he's the longest tenured Bill.
That is correct.
I give Bass credit that he was in the shit there. I mean, it was
you
not
could say
good.
most improved too.
Well, because he was most improved from falling down.
Yeah.
But he hung in there.
Got back up.
They brought somebody in. They had enough faith in him. They'd also paid him to say, let's see if we can get it back. He made the 61-yarder. I think he's just got to, it's you see it. It's funny. I was watching Elliott for the Eagles, who went through similar stuff that Bass did.
Yeah.
And then he sort of got his act together, and both of them were perfect in the playoffs, which was kind of funny after the struggles.
Yeah.
But when you have seen a guy succeed, it's a lot easier to go, we've seen this with the guy. He's not old. He's just going through a slump.
Yeah.
And so the hope is he's okay, because that's a position you don't want to. I don't know if there was really anybody else. I mean,
Mac Hollins made a couple of plays.
Of course he did.
Yeah.
But I also,
I had Mac.
Yeah. To me, it was also the, for even Tyler's misses, it never cost them a game.
Right.
I know that sounds weird, but because he did have missed extra points and you left points on the board, but I believe week 1, he had the kick to tie it late before they went into overtime.
Wasn't he perfect over 50 this year too?
Yes.
That's good.
So I liked that upside of hey, Tyler never lost them a game and he won them a game. So
yeah.
With a 61-yarder.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Also, McDermott having the confidence in him.
Yeah.
McDermott gets fired up when he after that game, he talked about the mentality, the mindset that Bass had to be in, and that he's I had total faith that he goes, I wasn't just having him go out there to attempt it. I was having him to go out there and make it. That, when he talks like that and he doesn't generalize all of the kickers in the building, you know that was a pretty big one.
He loves the guys who show the mental toughness. And if you're a kicker, you better show it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because you are all alone. I know he has Reed, right? And he's got Martin holding, but it's really on that guy. And he doesn't have somebody else to block and catch and all. It's him. And he did. I was impressed the way he fought back.
Yeah.
Also, I think some of the reasons too that they always talk about with that special teams unit, and I know we've talked about it before with winning the punting competition and stuff like that. I know they've brought in they signed a punter to a futures contract, things like that. The holding part is a massive relationship in there. You're talking about being alone. I remember having the discussion with Sam Martin after Reed lost one of the balls. The balls went into the kicking ball went into the stands. Reed had this whole discussion. He sent out a PSA on social media about like, we need those balls back. And I remember I got talking to Sam about it because he kind of said too about what it's like for him even punting and Tyler kicking and things like that. Sam's pretty confident that he's the best holder in the league. And when I was like, oh, really? And he's like, yeah, it's not even close.
Yeah.
Like, and so that also goes into success. So when you think about like, oh, I want to change this, I want to change that, like that relationship is golfer caddy. Like it is a very tight pond. And Sam Martin was saying he was very confident saying, I'm the best holder in the league and it's not close.
But
it does matter.
It does. It means a lot. But at the point, they're going to cut the kicker if they have to. That's the reason I said,
of course,
like,
but I see
because
what Dan's
unless
saying.
the holder is a mess, it's going to go on. The only reason I brought that up was because, at that point, Tyler, you got to make the kick, whatever it is.
My point is like when you talk about moving on from a punter, like, just move on from punter.
No, you're right.
It's like, hey, by the way, like punting is 55% of his job, but the holding part is directly related to points.
Yeah. They used to, years ago in football, the holder was almost always the quarterback. Sometimes a starter. Do you remember the Tony Romo one?
Yeah.
Dallas in the playoffs where he dropped the ball and they tried to run it in. And if you think about it, I think it's what's made kickers even better. Obviously practice and training and everything, but they get that holder with them all the time. I mean, they constantly can work at it. So that was good.
All right, let's do the fun categories.
Okay.
Most likely to be president.
Can I just go through my list?
Yeah. All of them?
Go through your list. Go through your list.
My list of presidents. So why they would or they wouldn't. So I would say Mac would be fascinating in the debates.
Oh.
That's what I would want to see.
Yes.
He would.
I did not have Mac on my list.
I did not have Mac on my list either.
A little worried.
And I would say, okay, Vaughn has the ego to run.
I had Vaughn.
He would tell everybody, I'm 14 years in the NFL. Yes.
Yeah.
That would be good.
Josh, too nice to be president.
I had Josh on there too. I wondered.
Too nice.
Yeah, I think he wouldn't want
You got to be a bit of an ass to be anybody to be president.
He doesn't have the ego.
Terrell Bernard, too smart to be president.
I had Terrell Bernard. I had who I would want to be president.
I have the guy that I think would run and would think he could win. And I might tell you, he might have a chance. Spencer Brown.
No.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I don't see that.
Oh,
actually, like maybe politician. Yeah, I could actually see that.
I think he would be very resolute in his thoughts.
Yeah, that's fair.
And he can rile some people up. Bring out the 24 pack.
I have the two correct answers.
Oh, excuse me.
So I have the president and the VP.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
And this helps my case because I was going through the list. The president is Micah Hyde.
I would want him. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, yes.
And his VP, Dawson Knox.
Oh, that's like, I would vote for that ticket.
Yeah.
Those are like,
too
thoughtful.
Nice. They're too nice.
Yeah.
You have to be a bit of an ass to be the president.
Micah has an edge.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, that's crazy.
He is a nice
You're
man.
grasping at straws. Yeah.
He is. Now, tell me, I would feel good about it. And then, but I'd be like, are you sitting there with Putin? Come on, Micah. Micah'd be like, hey, how's it going?
Putin would look in his eyes and then it'd be over.
Then if that's the case, Ray Davis.
Yeah, Ray Davis got the eyes.
I was going to say make up your own categories. I had best eyes. It was Ray Davis and a landslide.
Yeah. All right, best hair.
Can I say it? Because you're going to say it.
No, I don't think I am.
Josh Allen had the best hair
by
this
far.
year.
Oh.
By far.
A little too much lettuce
Maybe
at the end.
I am, as you guys well know, I am jealous of hair with everyone. Two people I had on the list for very different reasons, Josh Allen and Ty Johnson.
I had Ty Johnson.
Love Ty Johnson.
I love Ty Johnson.
I don't know how it fits, but I just look at it and I just go.
Even Mac Hollins.
Yeah.
Mac Hollins, tons of different styles.
Yeah, he'd braid it. He'd leave it out. Yeah.
A lot of lettuce. Like Dawson's got a lot of lettuce
I think
going.
Josh came up out of nowhere. We did not expect.
Bailey had a lot to do with that.
The first training camp day when he took his helmet off and did the swoosh.
Yeah.
When does it get cut?
I was thinking that obviously for NFL honors, it was still long.
I think it gets
don't
trimmed.
know. I don't know when the wedding is.
This is influenced by,
the wedding.
yes, but the
Absolutely.
long hair is influenced by
Haley.
no doubt.
Absolutely.
She likes
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great. It's
Yeah. I
That's-
mean, he's got great
by the way,
hair.
that's high school, Dan. That's hockey flow.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
I can't even imagine you in college.
My dad used to call it the wings because you'd
Oh,
wear a
I
hat,
had- yeah.
and you'd have
Oh,
just
yeah.
the wings perfect. You'd get out of the shower and you'd kind of curl them. That was it.
That is quite a look.
Josh he had the perfect amount, even for hockey guys to understand, just out the back of the helmet was good hair.
At the end of the season, it was pretty long.
It looked good at the honors.
It looked great at the honors, but like sometimes playing football, it just looked like you would have, you could just see the like little like end bangs out the back. Okay.
who did you have?
I had Ty Johnson.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
Great
said
hair.
Matt Collins too.
Yeah.
Also had great hair. Most likely to become a comedian. I had Josh Allen.
Josh Allen's also on there for me.
Yeah.
So comedians, it helps.
Mike's your phone's talking to you.
You butt dialed Dan.
I did because I butt dialed you because I was looking up the great picture I have of my
Mike
phone.
is infamous at butt dialing.
Yes. So you have a message there that says,
I have
do you
that
have for
photo of
comedian?
Dan. That's actually on our Aura frame.
it's so good. It's so good.
The Fredonia Blue Devils.
Oh,
one.
Oh,
it's
the
so
Fredonia
good.
Blue Devil
It's
one.
so
yeah,
good.
it's perfect.
So comedians are funnier when they have something about the look, right?
What do you mean?
Like most of them are.
It's so good.
I think Dion.
Dion's got great hair. Look at Dan.
No, I was talking. Yes.
Oh
if you
yeah,
can see.
sorry.
Dion as a comedian.
I could see that.
I
Dion
can see him
is just
doing
funny.
a whole set. He'll laugh at it too. He'll
Oh,
be
yeah.
laughing at his own set. I think Josh is a comedic actor. Like
Chris Pratt in Parks and Rec.
he could
So
do
good.
those parts
Yes.
now.
Yeah.
He could walk in there now and do that. He's done them
Yes.
already for the Bills.
Yeah.
But stand-up comic, you got to have a certain.
Well, I didn't say stand up. I said
you did
comedian.
say comedian. Yes,
Comedian
you
can
did
be
say.
interpreted how you want.
Yeah.
Comedic actor Josh Allen.
I had KJ Hamler.
I was
Oh,
literally
funny.
in my head. I was
He
thinking
was
of the
funny.
The gift that I have of him when Oz was there, and he's just
yeah, so
he's
good.
got good timing or comedic timing. Whenever we talked to him at training camp, he had
Yes.
the
Great.
energy. His energy would be off the charts for a comedian.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
Josh
fair.
would be like the Nate Bargatze, like the timing, the dryness. He
The
has it.
looks. Yeah, he should be. If they redo The Office or
Yes.
Parks,
I love Parks.
he could
Yes.
get a part.
When
in that.
Josh did the pit
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
and he was Andy, so good.
It was
Very
really
good.
good.
Fantastic. I think we all have the same answer for best person to share a deserted island with.
No,
I don't think we do.
you guys, you say yours.
Mac Hollins.
Okay.
I had Mac. If you wanted to have a really quiet island, you could share it with Milano.
So,
if you wanted to just have peace
You already have so much silence though.
you said that what I wrote down was for me. I wrote down 3 different people who could be on the island with me because then I could just talk all the time. It was Milano, Benford, and Cook.
Oh
Yes.
my god.
Then those guys, I could just,
Then they would might hurt you.
they probably would. But I was thinking, yeah, just be quiet. I have a lot to say.
Yes.
Honorable mention Sean McDermott. I feel like he would figure out some way to like wrestle.
He'd get you.
Like
Yeah, he'd get you.
food
Right, he
down
might
and-
get you off the island.
Yeah, I'm trying to get off the island.
I want no part of McDermott on an island with
He'd
me.
be having you do sit-ups and push-ups
Yeah.
in the morning.
Yeah, but you'd be like well trained
That's
to like
true.
swim to the other island to get help.
No, I don't want any part of McDermott.
And Mac Hollins, is like, oh, I can fashion.
Yes.
He'd be like,
something
well,
out
you
of-
guys don't
yeah.
know Gilligan's Island. He'd be like the professor building like
Yes.
Yeah,
the boat to get him off the
Yeah.
island.
Yes.
yeah.
By the way, they never figured that out. So
But I had Milano if you wanted just a nice quiet time.
Tranquil.
On the, yes.
that's why I went with 3 of the quieter guys on the team.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
would be like, get me away.
It would
from
be,
the-
but it might help me get off the island.
Could you
Beca-
imagine if we all were stuck on an island?
Oh my god!
The
we
podcasting though would be fired.
Yeah.
the hour car ride up to Buffalo sometimes is we're
Jenna
stranded.
doesn't
We're
stop
stranded on the
talking.
island.
It's just like this.
Who did you have? Who else other than Milano?
Mac. I had Mac.
Mac.
Yeah,
Okay,
Mac in general, just
Oh.
because.
I also, for president too, another guy we could have mentioned, Taron Johnson.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. I can
Taron's
see that.
also
But I don't see him wanting to be president.
Correct.
But he would be a great
nobody
president.
that should be a disqualifier. If you want to be president, you should not be allowed to run.
That's yeah,
Your president should be something that you're elected to be like, hey, it's your turn.
yeah. That's
I'm
fair.
waiting. I'm telling you.
All right,
Spencer.
most likely to win the lottery and lose the ticket.
There's one answer here.
I think so. I have a second, but it's more of
I
a
have
joke.
I have a second too.
1, 2, 3.
Keon. Yep.
And then he'd be like, hey, I'm cool. I don't spend a lot of money. It was
got my
fine.
Macy's
I got my
jacket."
jacket. But he would be that
Yeah.
guy. He'd be like,
Yeah.
I had it somewhere.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's no doubt.
I also had Milano might win it and then just choose not to turn it in.
I could definitely.
Milano's like, I don't want that publicity or anything
Yeah.
I
like
could
that.
definitely
so
see that.
Here,
Yeah.
you somebody else take this ticket.
I was
Yeah.
thinking honorable mention Isaiah McKenzie.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just to come back.
just
It's so funny because in my head, I could twist a lot of these answers into Matt Milano because we have no idea what he's like. We have
really
no,
does.
I would
we have-
never twist these into Matt Milano because I have no idea what he's like.
right, but you could be like, he'd be the funniest comedian. I don't know. maybe his like one-liners like Mitch Hedberg would just be like
Yeah.
hysterical.
The best line was McDermott when somebody said how much he talks to us. And McDermott said he talks just a little bit more to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. He isn't.
And then what was when Elena Getzenberg and Catherine Fitzgerald they asked him like
Yeah.
20 questions. They timed the interview. It was like 3 minutes and 23 seconds. His average answer per question was like 4
8
4
words, I feel like.
It
Maybe
was
that's
unbelievable.
Yeah.
He's just a man of mystery. You could be like,
silent assassin.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. No. Michael could never.
Be on that island. See, I think I would motivate them
No.
to get
Oh.
to get
Oh,
off
yes.
the island.
Yes.
See, I'm thinking ahead.
They
Like, I
would-
just keep
Not just
talking
a
to me
hat-
But
like,
the problem is
rack.
they would leave you on the island.
they
They'd be
might
like,
actually-
we
they
gotta
might
get
actually
the
kill
hell
me.
away from this guy.
Yeah.
somebody might kill me.
Yeah.
on the island.
be like, finally silence. Okay. Oh, do we have anything else?
You want to make fun of Mahomes?
Okay.
We
The
talked-
reason I say
before
this,
Mike goes, you guys got to set me up so I can diss on Mahomes.
well, this was going to be
That was my setup.
This was going
Go
to be
ahead.
my credit to me, so I can do it as my
Okay,
credit
we'll
to
do
me.
credit to me.
It was only like the last time, and you guys know, like the last time the Eagles won the Super Bowl, it was like those signs in a business that say how many days without an accident. It was how many days in a row that I did not
talk
mention the
about
Super
the
Bowl.
Eagles. Okay, first of all, real talk. We actually had on our whiteboard in the office, we had a countdown, and
Yeah.
it was constantly being reset to 0
Right.
because Michael would always mention the
This, it's just different. And I feel more because of the Bills, I feel more as a slight on the Chiefs. Preface here because Chiefs fans get the most butthurt about everything. They come after you for everything in the world. Awesome. Legendary team. 5 Super Bowls in 6 years. Beat the Bills. I know they beat the Bills 4 years in a row. I was there for all those games. So were these guys. We know, right? This is the way it goes. But the Super Bowl was a beatdown, and their offense was historically bad in the game. Historically bad.
yes.
Like the worst first 9 or 10 drives of a game of any quarterback and any offense in the NFL for the entire year. And the yards that they got in the game were so meaningless. I said to you guys, the most meaningless thing is Patrick Mahomes threw a 50-yard touchdown to Xavier Worthy that we all know after the Eagles had dumped Gatorade on Sirianni. When you talk, that is the ultimate
Pretty good.
ultimate garbage time. That is maybe the most garbage time touchdown in the history of the NFL.
Yes.
They have already dumped Gatorade on a guy, and your starting quarterback is throwing a 50-yard bomb. He deserves the right to be on the field. I'm just saying to you, it was, for a great, great team and a great player, it was an embarrassing day. Throwing them 50-yard bombs after you've gotten your ass kicked in the whole day.
Yeah.
I just enjoyed that. So go ahead, Chiefs fans. Tell me that the Bills lost to them 4 times. Tell me you've won all these titles. I know. We all know that. I just wanted to get a shot in. So
Well done.
Yeah. Go ahead. Or do you want me to go?
You go. Do you have one?
Credit to me familia. No,
Oh yeah.
oh, this is awesome.
yeah, one of my should I say? No, I'll just say like
It's just
Yeah,
in
my
general,
family.
just say.
yeah, a family member, not my immediate family, unfortunately. But one of my cousins, which maybe cousins, I don't know, they won a parlay, and let me tell you the parlay because it's insane.
Puts Uncle Dan to shame.
Oh.
So Uncle Dan could never.
Nope.
So he picked the NCAA men's basketball champion of UConn, parlayed that with the NBA champion, the Boston Celtics winning, parlayed that with the NHL champs, Florida Panthers, parlayed that with the Dodgers winning the World Series, and the final leg was the Philadelphia Eagles winning the Super Bowl outright.
Now, you would know this, Dan. Well, first of all, go ahead and say.
That payout was $243,000
$100
on a
bet.
$100 bet.
Now, for those of you who, and I'm not even 100% sure of this, that parlay is made at one time.
Correct.
So he had to make this bet last March,
Correct.
probably,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because it was before the NCAAs.
When the Eagles sucked.
It was coming off the offseason. Now, you could say the Dodgers, UConn and the Dodgers, okay.
Yeah.
And NHL is a crapshoot.
Yeah.
To get the
And
Florida
you had to
Panthers.
sweat game 7 of that one too.
And look, the Celtics were really good. So he
Mhm.
had a couple of favorites, but to pick them. And then the Eagles to win the Super Bowl coming off that year they had.
Yeah.
If he would have had the Chiefs, it would have been understandable because they had won 2 in a row. And you're like, okay, I'm going to take the shot at it. The numbers were off the charts. That is highly impressive. How much are you getting out of that?
None.
Oh.
No. But
Wedding?
I
part of a wedding gift,
can't.
maybe?
Can you imagine sweating that out though the night before the game? Would you have cashed out? I think the cash out was like 40 grand.
No, not for 40. You'd have to. No, I'm just saying like it's to win $250,000. So 40 is not enough that I would have cashed out. I would have probably hedged it the other way.
How much would you hedge there? Like 50 grand? How do you bet 50? By the way, how do you bet? Do you need to have 50?
You would need to have somebody that could front you that to put
50
into your
grand.
account. That's what people always say, like to actually hedge it where it makes sense. Where, excuse me, either way you'd make like 100. You would need somebody to front you 50,
right?
To bet it on the Chiefs.
But you lose the whole 50. When you win the 240, then you pay tax on
also,
that.
the best thing about that bet was got to be that he knew it in the second quarter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you knew.
So you mean he wasn't worried when Mahomes threw that last
No.
touchdown? I got him in there again.
No.
Bang. I just can't even imagime that. Yeah.
That's
so
crazy.
Very exciting.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah. I mean, very cool. But like, I'm going to try to get some juju for him to pick the Bills.
See you at the wedding?
Maybe.
Yeah. Maybe a good gift for you.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of extra cash.
That's not what this is about.
Yeah, it would be.
That's
I'd be
so
thinking
much.
that.
Maybe he got some tips from Buffalo Plus.
I might be looking
Uncle
at
Dan.
that. Be waiting for that gift and going.
He did ask me because he's not like a huge football fan. And I was like, the Eagles roster is better, but the Chiefs, like if it's close, the Chiefs really know how to win close games. It was never close.
Yeah.
It was not close.
Damn, good for him.
Mm-hmm.
Credit to a fellow Buffalo Plus subscriber, a friend of my family, Caitlin. She's expecting. We actually met them at the Thirsty Turtle. Her
Nice.
and her husband Basil. Basil's a big fan
Oh,
of
yeah.
Uncle Dan's Best Bets.
Yeah.
Caitlin's in the hospital right now. She's expecting her first child. It is very early, so she's kind of on bed rest. So kind of tough for her. Everybody's healthy, but
Good.
they are just being precautionary. So our thoughts, prayers, credit to her for being on bed rest.
Right.
Yes.
That has got to be very difficult. Credit to all women in the childbirthing process. Moms are superheroes.
Correct.
But my wife and Renee was saying, she goes, you should maybe, give Caitlin a shout out on the podcast.
Absolutely.
Whenever we do a video or something like that, Caitlin always comments and texts me, things like that. So we're thinking of you, Caitlin.
Go,
Yes.
Caitlin.
Really appreciate that.
And we appreciate you bringing in another Buffalo Plus subscriber to
yes.
the world.
Yes.
So that'd be nice. Thank you.
Like, comment,
Man,
Yes.
subscribe.
So we're just thinking about her. So credit to you,
Yes,
Caitlin, as you go
absolutely.
through this. So, and all the best, positive well wishes and prayers. So
yeah, good
appreciate it.
vibes.
Nice.
Sending good vibes.
Yes.
All right, cool. Let us know in the comments what you think about in terms of the superlatives you had, even the funny ones. We want to hear from everyone.
Yeah.
Because there were some good options this year.
Yeah, there was.
So there's that.
Yeah.
All right. For Mike Catalana and Dan Fates, I am Jenna Cottrell. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. We appreciate it. We will catch you next time here on the Buffalo Plus channel presented by Connors and Ferris.